Hi guys, and welcome to part 3 of this Legion of Shadow walkthrough guide. So if you've been following the guide, you'll know that we have now completed Act 1. We are now official certified warriors, and we are ready to embark on Act 2, which is pretty much what we're going to be doing, or at least the first part of it, in this episode. There's a lot to get through. So let's jump in. So at the very end of Act 1, we learn that there's been a demonic invasion, which we have sadly played a part in unleashing. Whoopsie. So we are now tasked with finding an old hermit called General Cornelius, who may have the knowledge and prophetic foresight to help defeat this threat. So Avondale gives us a white key before we are sent back to the castle. Use the key on the chest, and yeah, wow, we get some more gold. 40 gold actually, so my total comes up to 171 gold. There's also a talisman, which is complete garbage, so forget that. The Gorder speed, however, is great, giving a 4+ speed boost. Which is pretty much a guaranteed combat round win. However, bear in mind, we're about to buy 2 books, each of which annoyingly take up a backpack space. Again, note to the writer, you suck. So just bear in mind that, in terms of a backpack inventory, we might not have a lot of space for some of the goodies that we would like to have. Both of the books we will be ditching halfway through the act though, so we can also bear that in mind. Looking at our gear situation at this moment, the moth-bitten cloak is what we want to upgrade as fast as possible. Surely we're too good for a moth-bitten cloak. We have no stats from our rings at the moment, but lightning and thorns are doing some serious work for us. So we're looking good, but our priorities for this act, we want to get our speed up to at least 10. We need to bump our brawn up through the ceiling as much as we can, whilst keeping key abilities such as piercing and bleed. And throughout this act, we'll hopefully be bringing in some more passives such as fire aura. So Act 2 is pretty tough, I think, for all types of builds, but hopefully by following this guide we can, you can pick your fights carefully. The intention is that we bag the loot that we need to constantly keep us a little bit ahead of the curve, maintain our advantage, and leave us in a really strong position to take on Act 3. And career-wise, we are ultimately going for the Berserker career. It's a pretty tough one to obtain, as we have to get through a lot of hard combats in the arena first. But have faith, guys. I'll get you there with this guide. Right, enough banter. Let's get started. Okay, we're moving to the Act 2 map. Start by visiting the camp at 310. You can chat to Totsvig, then ask him what he has for sale. He has 2 different potions, neither of which we're really interested in right now. Ask to see Tanner's wares. So we want to purchase both of the books that are available. Each one takes up a backpack space. And each one costs 40 gold too. So this took me down to 131 gold. The Dwarven book will give us access soon to an upgrade for our left-hand weapon. And the law book we want to keep, because it will enable us to collect herbs, and we'll be getting a lot of root grass from our very first quest, so it's important to buy that book straight away, and it'll help us to make a bunch of different potions. Okay, so to make room for these ridiculous books, I had to dump one of my +6 health potions, which was painful, and my Miracle Grow potion from Best in Show. So yeah, annoying, but never mind. So if you turn to 459, you can view all the potions that Tanner can make from these different components. I would record this entry on your hero sheet so you can just easily fast travel back to that point whenever we need to make potions. Okay, so that done, we head straight into the Withered Glade quest, which is the green quest at 305. This should pretty much be a breeze for us. The end fight can be tricky. I was expecting it to be tricky, but actually it wasn't that bad. But we are completely geared up and we are prepared for it. Talk to the Elder Tree, discover that there is corruption in the area, offer your help. Avoid examining the mysterious rock, as it will corrupt one of your items and it will steal an attribute. So ignore that, enter the tunnel at 428, and then we're given a choice of directions to go in. We're going to go north, and we're going to try and retrieve the items that are stuck in the mud pool. So this immediately puts us into combat with a mud golem. No, this is one, oh yeah, so this is one adversary that has been patched, is now speed 5, and it was originally speed 6, and yeah, it's a straightforward fight. Remember, we're at 45 health, we have a high brawn. I smashed him to pieces in 4 rounds. I did get hit by a mud pie though. How dare he? Anyway, loot wise, 283. Because I know the sword looks nice, but we don't take it. Yeah, so 283. So we have choice of Champion's Blade for us and Mottled Cloak. So yeah, I know Champion's Blade looks really good. Speed booster has bleed, but we're going to keep our cool for now. We want to keep Ghoul Claw, and we're going to be upgrading that very soon. So instead, definitely grab the cloak to give us an extra point of armor. So we now have a mottled cloak instead of a moth-bitten cloak. So we are moving up in the world, guys. Moving on, we battle some cave trogs. They have speed 6, so a little more challenging. But, you know, we put all our effort into getting that Nightbringer weapon. So, you know, use it to bring the pain. These guys hit hard, but we all hit harder, don't worry. We have Fearless as well. We have Trickster to win rounds. We've got Might of Stone now, which can boost us up to 6 armor to soak up damage. So it's a very winnable, easy fight. Afterwards, collect the 2 root grass and note them down on your hero sheet. Loot-wise, we're going to be taking the Beetle Shell Garland. I know we're going to be sacrificing 1 brawn to take this, but we get speed and we get a chart mobility. So it's a bit of a no-brainer. So yeah, we drop to 7 brawn, but we have 8 speed now, which is ridiculously lovely at this point. So continue on and we encounter a giant ooze, which we can choose to avoid or battle. We don't need anything from it, but battling it gives us 2 more root grass and it gives us a chance at another special achievement. So in the updated patch notes, these are in the description below if you want to check them out. The giant ooze now has a brawn of 4 instead of 6 and has an armor of 4 instead of 6. I completely forgot this and fought it with its original stats because I'm an idiot, but I had no problem with it whatsoever, so it should be a pretty straightforward fight again for us. We don't need any of its loot, but by defeating it we have an opportunity to now climb up to the ledge. It's a speed 10 challenge. We have a speed of 8, so technically we can't fail it. And that takes us to entry 503 and choose to enter the cave. So now we're in an interesting encounter with a mutated beetle thing called Wormwood. So the special achievement is to kill it in 5 rounds or less. Now, I was confident going into this that I would do it. But anyway, have a go, guys. Then come back and I will share my experience. Okay, so I hope you did better than I did, because I'm embarrassed to say it took me 14 rounds to kill Wormwood. I fluffed 5 times because of his soft spot ability, which means that all my damage is negated, all my wins negated, and I drew 4 rounds as well. Thankfully, my thorns damage was helping on, those rounds to keep ticking away his health. Anyway, in the end, he got me down to 24 health, so I wasn't actually in any danger necessarily of losing, but I got absolutely nowhere near doing the special achievement, I'm afraid. And it is somewhat luck based. You pretty much have to just win every combat round and not get that soft spot ability triggering. Anyway, I had absolutely 0 luck in this combat. Anyway, rewards are at 517 if you didn't do the special achievement, obviously. But there's nothing we want. The sword would have been a good choice, but we have Nightbringer. Shield's not really good for us. We're not too fussed about piling on armour. We're not really doing a sort of tanky build. So there's nothing we want, but we just get the satisfaction of smashing an annoying bug. So climb back down, head east, and then we're going to now take the pit jump. It's a speed 14 challenge, so we need 6 on 2 dice, 6 or more. I rolled a double 4, so I cleared it with my hero. If you fail it and drop down the pit, don't stress, you're going to be just missing out on a cloak ability, which is nice, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. For those of us that made it, we then have to fight some angry drones and a hive queen, which neither should present too much of a challenge to us at this point. In fact, actually, I've got a note here. I actually rolled terribly against the hive queen. But then thankfully, each time she was whacking me, she was getting hit by lightning, coupled with my thorn, so she was taking 3 damage each time she was hitting me. And I'm sorely missing bleed at this point. I really am. But anyway, so technically shouldn't have too many problems. And we're going to take the diaphanous wings. Now, I know this has magic and we lose a point of armor, but what we want from this is the haste ability, which is an amazing speed ability and allows us to roll 3 dice for our attack speed, which is great. The beeswax item technically helps us in a fight later, but don't need it. Backpack space right now is at a premium and it doesn't make the cut, so chuck it. We have to make the jump again to go back, and don't worry if you fail it, it doesn't matter. If you want to know, I completely failed it. I fell all the way, I dropped like a stone, so much for those diaphanous wings. Anyway, climb out and carry on. So now we encounter a purple worm who is trying to devour a fellow adventurer. It's time to play the hero, look impressive, guys, and flex those warrior muscles, and go to her defense. This was an easy fight. I would suggest you save your fearless and haste abilities for later in the combat when the worm's speed has increased. With the purple worm dead, we meet Shay, who is from the Botanical Society. Be a complete total mercenary and demand payment to get 20 gold off her, which brought me to 151 gold. We now venture onwards. We explore the dwarven ruins. Because we have that annoying book in our possession, we can actually access the puzzle at 456. This puzzle is stupidly hard. Don't know what I was thinking. Trying to be clever. Trying to be too clever. Anyway, there's a link in the description to an annotated diagram which will help give you some clues on solving this ridiculous puzzle. So technically you're looking for 3 numbers to replace the star, circle and hourglass. Right, so if you want to avoid spoilers, then look away now, because I'm about to just flash up the solution for you. There you go. I hope that's right, actually, because I better just check that. I had better just double check that. Because that would be really embarrassing, wouldn't it? Like, yes, it is. That's correct. Anyway, you can now look back, guys. Okay. All right. So hopefully you'll reach that by solving it yourself with the hints that I have provided below in the description. So we did all of this for the rock biter item, left-hand pickaxe, and it enables us to keep piercing on our left hand, but it gives us an extra brawn point. So my brawn is now back to 8. We also get a large ruby, which is, I'm pretty sure, irrelevant for us. Because, yeah, we don't need the large ruby, but you can note it down anyway, and it doesn't take up backpack space. And we get 50 gold, so we're up to 201 gold. Okay, so now we're going to fight the boss monster of this area, Click. So, yeah, he's not that scary. He is basically a DPS race of sorts because he gains a brawn each round up to 10. And his pincer movement can also kind of trigger and, you know, deal a fair bit of damage if we keep rolling 1s for our speed. That said, we're in a great position to take the bug down, so get splattering, guys. Okay, so in my own fight, yeah, I didn't take a single point of damage, which I was kind of surprised at, but hey, I used Charm to re-roll a 1 on 1 combat round, which is the only time he would have got his pincer movement off. And yeah, I saved, yeah, and piercing, you can see how much that makes a difference in combat because it hits through his 7 armor. Yeah, so yeah, it was remarkably straightforward. Rewards now, yeah, we get 4 more root grass. That brings our total to 8. Rewards now, yeah, so I ummed and ahed about this. I kind of was thinking about taking the chest piece. Oh, sorry, I wasn't going to take the chest piece, that's it. But we are about to go into an orange quest where enemies are going to have a lot more armor. And I feel like keeping brawn is good, but speed is juicy. So if you have the web jerkin from Act 1, there is an argument to keep it for the webbed ability, but I didn't get that. We got the Crusader's vestments, and I think, yeah, the chitinous carapace is much better, so I would take the chest piece. So my stats are now 9 speed, 7 brawn, 2 magic, and 3 armor. Note for Kickstarter backers who have the special advanced loot cards, you can technically equip Gnawing Pain now, which is a main hand weapon. It's ridiculous. It has Fatal Wound and Disease on it. I don't know what I was thinking. It's totally broken. If you want to equip that now, I mean, there's no point following this guide, really, because you'll just sail through the entire game and act. It's probably the most broken item I ever came up with. But anyway, just thought I'd let you know. So, for the rest of us mortals, we are going to finish out this quest. We go back to the tree, we receive Wode's Blessing, which gives us +1 brawn in our next combat. So, my first foolish decision. Next, I decided to try and take on the legendary monster Vesuvius. So, because I thought I have 9 speed, I had 8 brawn, I thought I had a chance to succeed. This is the, yes, 335 is Vesuvius. Okay, so I thought I'd give it a go because I kind of was really tempted in wanting to get the Molten Gauntlets because I thought right now this would be an awesome upgrade for us, and it has Fire Aura. So before the fight, I popped one of my Troll Blood potions to try and negate some of the ridiculous passive damage he does. Anyway, in my fight, I got him down to 7 health before I died. Now, I could have used a health potion, but I kind of wanted to keep it for the next quest. I think I just realised in that fight that I was stupid to attempt it so early. His armour is a little bit too high for us, and he hits like a truck, or indeed a giant raging fire elemental. So yeah, so I died on your behalf, guys, so you don't need to. But I thought it was worth a try, and don't worry, I'll be back to settle that score later. And more importantly, when I do come back to this encounter later, I actually change my mind about the loot, and I go for the cloak. And I'm still undecided if that was a good decision or not, but we'll discuss that in the next episode. So next, we're going into the Seared Scar quest, entry 321, because there are some important upgrades for us there, and we want to get ourselves in a strong position before tackling the other orange quest, because we want to guarantee our victory against Baron Greylock to get his tasty axe. Okay, so we're headed into the Seared Scar. Before you do so, check you have a healing potion in your backpack. If you don't for any reason, then visit the camp and purchase one for 40 gold from Totsvig. Don't worry too much about the cost. We'll be getting plenty of money back, soon. Seared Scar starts on entry 321. We shouldn't have any problems with this entire quest. Although you'll note that opponents do start to get a lot more armor now, so combats tend to run a little longer than they have done previously. Chat to the wounded explorer, use your healing potion on him. I hate spending valuable resources, but he is going to help us in a later end fight. Continue to chat to Hal if you want to. You can learn about his missing companion Belinda, and also about his clockwork camera. Agree to enter the Scar, and our quest begins. Now, we're given a choice of paths to enter a cave or descend down to the lake of lava. There's nothing we really need from the cave route. If we didn't have Nightbringer, then there is an equivalent item now, which is there, which we could have grabbed, but we don't need it. So we're going to take the lake route instead. It's better for us. We'll get some herbs and we'll find the camera. So follow the ledge down to the lava. This will put us into combat with a phoenix. It's a 2-stage fight, so we basically have 60 health that we need to burn through. So despite some immunities that aren't relevant to any of our abilities whatsoever, this opponent has no damage ability really to watch out for. In my combat, I ended up taking a total of 12 damage from the whole fight, and that was just due to some really bad speed rolls. Otherwise, should be super easy. And for our trouble, we get 1 bramble thorn and 2 firegrass. So I know we can technically hop back to camp and start crafting potions now, but we need to keep our backpack slots ready for other stuff. Search the rocks and find the clockwork camera and stuff it in your bag. I believe that's a backpack space. And then continue. So now we get 2 choices. So we can go and approach this giant, molten giant, who's Magmageddon. So this giant is an uber boss fight that will totally obliterate us right now. But you can approach him and it kind of saves the encounter so that you can go back and activate him later. The thing is, we actually need nothing from him whatsoever, and so I don't bother fighting him. But if you fancy trying your luck just to see if you can defeat this giant uber boss, then make a note of that number and you can revisit him at the end of the act if you fancy having a go beating him. But for now, continue on. We enter the cave for another fight with Cinders. This is a tougher fight because she can hit us multiple times with Vortex of Fire. Just go in, lead with your speed abilities, haste, fearless, webbed if you have it. We've also got Charm, we've got Trickster to help with swapping or improving dice. Basically, we have the upper hand, and even more so because she has been patched. She is now 8 speed and not 9. I totally forgot this again because I'm an idiot, so I fought her at 9 speed. And even so, it was pretty easy fight. She got me down to 21 health. She hit me twice for a fair bit of damage, but of course, when she hits me, she triggers lightning. I also got hit by the Vortex twice. But anyway, I'll live to fight another day. So, yeah, so there's some good items here. 655. Yeah, so the ring +1 brawn and seer is really nice. It would be a good choice, but the flame bathed cowl has had an upgrade with the patch notes. It's now 1 speed and 2 brawn with seer, which makes that now a much easier choice to take. So yeah, we definitely take it. We lose a point of armor, but we gain 2 brawn and we get seer, which adds 1 damage to each dice we roll for damage, very much like acid that we had in Act 1. And yes, it's one of those abilities that is very easy to forget to use. I forget it a lot. Anyway, stat-wise, 9 speed, 9 brawn, 2 magic, and 2 armor. We climb the stairs and we discover Belinda, but we also discover a huge, angry, flame-wreathed knight. Thankfully, we gave Hal the potion earlier, so he runs in and joins the fight, adds 1 to our damage score, which is good because we can't use seer in this ability, which is the ability we just got. Right, so this is a tough... Yeah, so this technically could be a tough fight because we can't use piercing either. However, we are matched for speed, and in most combats, that's really all that matters. And yeah, so it's very doable for us. So cut him down to size, guys. In my own fight, I had some unlucky rolls, but I finished him off with 24 health left. Again, thank you, Lightning. I've just written here, and thank you, Thorns. So yeah, passive damage, it's just so good in this game, and it just really helps when you just have those like draws or unlucky rolls because you're still chipping away at damage, chipping away at health. Anyway, loot time. So after defeating him, we get 2 more bramble thorn and 1 root grass. So technically, I think that's 2 more health pots we can craft. Now we'll be finding at least 2 more bramble thorns soon. So it's probably worth keeping your root grass for the better heal potions and the brawn potion. Okay, so reward items 5, 6, 8. Because I deliberated for a long time on this. Yeah. Yeah, I deliberated between the cloak and the gloves. Yeah, vambraces are pretty nice. But I think, yeah, but I think the Destroyer's Drape is a no-brainer because it has 2 speed, which helps us a lot. We lose our haste, which is a shame, but backfire isn't that bad an ability, especially in fights with high armor opponents because it ignores armor. Now, I'm very conscious that our gloves item at the moment is shockingly awful. It's still the Mason's gloves, isn't it? With first cut, I think. But we can live with what we've got a little bit longer. So anyway, I took the cloak, Destroyer's Drape, 2 speed and 1 armor. So my stats are now 10 speed, 9 brawn, 1 magic and 3 armor. No speed abilities anymore, which is absolutely shockingly painful, but our flat out speed statistic is really, really super good right now. So it's all good. To end the quest, give Hal his clockwork camera. You get the gold detector. I took it and put it in my backpack because I figured it might be handy for some extra gold. It's not crucial if you don't want to give up precious backpack space. Definitely take the photograph because we'll be using it later to get 50 gold. Okay, so at this point I considered trying Vesuvius again. But looking at our gear and stats, I kind of liked where we are at, and yeah, because of our speed, I feel like we're really confident in smashing through the next quest. And all we want from that quest is the axe from Greylock. So, like, completing the quest isn't a priority, and we just want to survive long enough to kill Greylock. Yeah, so we can now start the Count's Ball, which is one of my favourite quests in this book. This is Orange Quest 326. So we start by almost getting run over by a carriage. We meet Lady Rowe, who invites us to her father's ball. So, interesting bit of info here. She references a gypsy camp. Now, this was going to be another camp area and quest area that I was going to add to Act 2. Almost a bit of like a sort of faction. But I just didn't have the space to do it, unfortunately, which is a shame. And it would have linked back to the Scarlet in the Woods quest. But anyway, a few of those ideas and characters ended up in my latest DQ book, which is Ties of Terror. So just a little bit of interesting info there. So accept and head to the castle. When we meet Jenkins, refuse to hand over your weapons. Then try and leave, and we get bopped on the head and we will go unconscious. When we awake, we discover our main and left-hand items are gone. Shock, horror. So this is going to massively affect our stats. Just make a note of the missing equipment. Although the only one I'm afraid that we're going to be wanting back after this is the rock biter. Yeah, cool. So we're now down to 8 speed, 3 brawn, which is awful, I know. 1 magic and 3 armor. Search the desk if you want some background lore on some of the things that are happening behind the scenes of this quest. Then search the other traveller, get 10 gold. And remember, if you've got the gold detector, this will actually make it 20 gold. So I'm at 221 now. And take the way... Yeah, so I take the Wayfarer's ring. I know this is painful. And we have to say goodbye to Lightning. Yeah, it boosts our stats. It brings us to 4 brawn, 4 armour. And we get a 3rd charm ability, which charms are always great to have. Lightning has just been like an absolute hero for us. Certainly in my combats, it did serious work. But the lack of stats on that ring just make it a hindrance to keep. And sometimes you just have to be ruthless. Yeah, so leave the room. We join the other guests and you're going to meet Spink. So progress through all the conversation. We discover that he seems to know a lot more about what's going on than we do. He also has an entire armoury of items hidden inside his coat, I should say, because he is a witchfinder in training. So this is where we can now choose a main hand and left hand weapon to replace those scary vacant gaps that we've got. I chose the stake, which will boost brawn, and I chose the mirror for speed. These also give us the stake ability and the reflect ability, which are both going to be absolutely fantastic in our fights ahead. Stake, I've just noted, is oddly a speed ability, and it should really be a passive ability. But hey, makes no difference. So after that, we're 9 speed and 6 brawn, which is a bit more respectable. Anyway, progressing with the story, things go super crazy, and we're now fighting for our life. So once... This is a special... Oh, right, okay, so just to explain very quickly this quest, it's what I term a gauntlet quest. You can't restore your health between the combats. So the idea is you're trying to get as far as you can through this quest without losing and dying, because the minute you are defeated, you trigger a different ending. So just keep that in mind, that if at any point, and you shouldn't, but if at any point you're about to lose combat, if you have a health pot, by all means, pop it. Okay? Our goal is to preserve as much health as we can for the Greylock fight, because that is why we're here. Okay, first fight, we fight the Jester. He is now patched, literally and figuratively. So he's now 6 speed. I forgot this again, so I fought him at 7 speed because I'm an idiot. But even then, I didn't lose a round, so therefore you shouldn't have a problem here. Loot-wise, I was almost tempted to take the Jerkin that falls from him because it gives us evade. But yeah, I didn't. I just chose to press on, and we've got the chitinous carapace, which gives us armor. So as we progress the story, help Spink to recover the bottle now, and then we now fight Clymenistra. She has piercing, which is nasty for us because we don't want to be taking too much health damage. But do remember we have reflect. So her first hit against us, we reflect back all that damage. So good luck, guys. You've got this. Again, in my fight, I took no damage. I just kept. I was winning rounds. She won one round towards the end of the fight, and I just reflected it back, dealing 8 damage to her, and then that brought her into the range for me to stake her at the start of the next round. So Aldeus Folks would have been incredibly proud of that effort. Right, so her loot is really for mage, so it doesn't interest us. You can grab the healing potion if you need it and have the space. Then it's now time for the big fight. So as we progress onwards, we can then attack Baron Greylock at 306. This is the guy we desperately want to defeat. Okay, so he doesn't have any abilities, apart from the fact, yeah, he's just a vampire. But he has pretty decent speed and he hits hard with a pretty decent health pool. But you've totally got this. We are in a really strong position. In my fight, I didn't take a point of damage. Again, I've got here, I lost one round, and the round that I lost to him, I just reflected the damage back. Yeah, so our +1 speed here, which is really helps in this fight, and it's why I took that cloak. Plus we have Remembered Trickster, we've got Charms, and yeah, I just put here, and you know what, I forgot as usual to use Seer. So I forgot to use Seer in this fight as well. But didn't have a problem with it, so hopefully, you will smash through this too. And then it is loot time at 385. Now, all of these items are just glorious for us. It's just, yeah. I wish we could just take all of them. I just wish. But anyway, we can't. So it's tough, but actually, Winter's Bite is just tailor-made for us. It's a big axe. We want to be a berserker. It's a no-brainer. Grab it, equip it. We are now 11 speed, and we have bleed. Happy days. Okay, so now we don't need anything else from this quest. But by all means, continue onwards if you want to progress the story, see how far you get, because it's a really great quest. I love it. In my playthrough, I fought the Count in the hallway just to see how I would match up against him. I was actually fully expecting to die in this because of the sort of Screaming Bride lowering your attributes. But yeah, I managed to do it without losing a point of damage again. I used First Cut on the Count, so he starts taking bleed damage and thorns. Remember, the painting also takes thorns damage, so that was good. Then I just focused on taking the painting down first, as fast as possible. The painting got me down to 7 speed and 2 brawn, but then the minute you take out the painting, you restore your attributes back. And then for me, it just became an easy fight against the Count because I had a 2 speed advantage, reflect as well to bounce back a win that he gets. So yeah, actually wasn't a problem. Rewards, sadly nothing we need. Kind of rogue gear, mage gear. So anyway, so end of the quest, we get our items back. We don't need Nightbringer anymore, sorry to say, so just re-equip the Rock Biter to get our piercing back. So with those items back, stat-wise we're looking good. We've got 11 speed, 8 brawn, 1 magic for armor, and that's where we're going to end this episode. So in the next one, we'll be starting the arena chain in the town to the south. We're going to battle Vesuvius, and I get my revenge. And we're going to smash through a stone giant to finally gain our first warrior career. So, thank you. Sorry that was a bit of a long one, but Act 2 is massive. There's a lot of content here to battle through, but yeah, persevere, we'll get through it. Hope to see you on the next one. Please hit that subscribe button if you want notification of when the next episode goes up. Please share your experiences below. And thank you, and happy adventuring, guys. Cheers.